Good morning everyone, welcome to chessroots.com. Okay, today I'm gonna show you Budapest opening. What is a Budapest Gambit? Okay, Budapest Gambit is nothing but d4, knight f6, c4, e5. There will be lots of theory in this opening where you'll get a minimum plus equal advantage from white side. The reason why most of the advanced senior players will not play this opening because this opening has been analyzed very perfectly till white gets a minimum advantage from all variations. So we don't see most of the high level players playing Budapest Gambit from black side. Okay, today I am gonna show you an example how Budapest Gambit is very easy to play with white. d5, knight g4. This is a standard line. In this line we have some complications after bishop f4. Most of us will play knight f3 supporting this pawn like this, but I prefer playing bishop f4 instead of knight f3. The reason why I preferred bishop f4 is because after bishop c5 and e3, this bishop on c1 will be little passive and you need to open with b3 and bishop b2, which is not so effective. Even in some lines, grandmasters levels, they used to play b3 bishop b2, but I prefer bishop f4 will be a good opening. So after bishop f4, most of them will be afraid for g5. There is a variation named g5. This variation you will also get plus equal later. Okay, after bishop f4, let us see what happened. Knight c6, knight f3, bishop b4. This is a point where why Budapest is not frequently played. Now bishop b4, knight bd2 is the first. Knight c3 is very terrible to play. After bishop c3, this pawn on c4 and c3 looks very bad. So knight bd2, queen e7 and a3. So at this moment black is forced to give this double bishop advantage, and this game will be an open game where white two bishops will be dominating the position. So that is the only reason why Budapest, most of the high level players will not choose to play Budapest Gambit. Okay, after a3, knight ge5. You cannot take a into b4 because there is a checkmate with knight d3. This is our only trap in this Budapest. So after knight into e5, still the trap continues of knight d3. So e3, bishop into d2 is like forced because there is no bishop a5 or c5 or any other square. After b4, white will be definitely better and even wins the piece on b4. So bishop d2 is forced, queen d2, and here black played f6. Okay, this is a standard position where we often see playing d6 and later white will play bishop e2, castle the king, and later plays b4 and c5, creating a weakness on d6. Or we'll see some variations. White play queen c3, b4 and c5. This knight on e5 will be attacked, and after b6, white will play still c5 to weaken this e5 knight, and will have a doubled pawn on the c file, where white will be having a open board with a double bishop advantage. So bishop e2. So he played f6, not trying to commit with d6. Instead he needs to play with b6 and bishop b7. So he played bishop e2, b6, and castle shot. After bishop b7, white continues his plan with b4. Now the threat is to open with c5, and black played here c5. Try to prevent c5 of white. And after c5, white will also get one moment, he'll get this diagonal very weak. So black doesn't want to allow, so he played c5. In my opinion, c5 is little dubious, trying to leave a backward pawn on d7, and this position black will face a lot of problems. Instead of c5, he could have played a5, which opens the position with c5, bc5, bc5, queen into c5, rook a c1. If queen into a3, bishop into e5 will leave bad pawns on d7 and c7. After fe5, rook fd1, castle shot, queen into d7, and this position I think it's clearly better for white. Let us see. After rook a c8, rook c7, rook c7, queen into c7, queen b2 supporting this pawn, and b7 bishop, and bishop c4 check, king h8. There is threat of queen e7, but white will play f3, trying to close this bishop and this rook on f8, and also not allowing this king to run away for flying square like f2. Now I think this position is clearly better for white, sorry. So he played after b4, c5, rook fd1, and long castles. After long castling, b into c5, queen into c5. If b into c5, rook b1, I think we all can guess what is going to happen in that type of position, where you allow queen and rooks in an open file and the king is too exposed. So after queen into c5, white played a brilliant positional move, e4. This e4 pawn is he's giving this pawn because after bishop into e4, white will come bishop e3 and push c5, and this king on c8 will be caught in the center. Or if he won't play e4, now black is immediately threatening d5 and open this bishop, open this rook, and doubling this rook on the d file, and black will have like a free play. After d5, cd5, qd5, we can imagine that black can hold this position. So after queen c5, e4, he played d6, not allowing bishop e3, and later he cannot push c5 because he can take with d into c5. So here he played a4, trying to open up this rook file, queen c7, a5, bishop into e4, ab6, queen a2. Now white is trying to play with this double bishop, where black is a pawn up, but white is still very good in this position. So rook h e8, bishop e3, eyeing at b6 at one point maybe. So bishop b7, rook a b1, queen c6, and here white plays one more good move with the rook d5, blocking this and attacking this b6. Sorry, attacking this b6 pawn. So there is no way black can leave rook into b6. That will be a very bad position for black. So he played nd7 instead of rook d5. He played bishop f1. Some tactical moves like knight f3 will come, and after king h8 maybe he can even take rook e3 or knight back, knight to g4, rook. So this is some problems. After black will get some counter chances, so you don't want to allow this. So knight d7, bishop f4, knight c5, bishop g4 check, king b8, bishop f3. Now these two bishops are dominating black, so he don't have much options. So he gave an exchange sacrifice with rook e4 and queen d2, trying to support and keep this bishop on f3, rook into f4, queen into f4, queen c7, bishop rook g2, and bishop a6. I think this position is total loss for black. There's a big weakness. All the light squares in the black camp are pretty weak, and king is little bit exposed. We're having lots of open files for rook. This position should be an easy play for white. So after rook b1, rook b d1, king a7, h4, doing the back rank weakness, knight e6, queen f5, knight c5, rook a2. Now I think black is total lost, h6, rook db1, and finally here black played a blunder, queen f7. And after queen f7, I think you can see this move, rook into a6 will be a checkmate soon. After rook into a6, again rook into a6, king into a6, queen b5 check, king a7, queen c6 will be winning, queen a4, king b8, queen b8, queen a8, king c7, and queen b7 will be a checkmate. So this is the reason why most of the high level players don't like Budapest opening, Budapest Gambit. White will get an easy play and an open board with a double bishop advantage and having an easy plan in the middle game. Hope you enjoy the example. See you in the next class.